Riverbend Sandler Pool Supply's recommended chemical regimen is less prone to all types of problems. Let's take a look. Step 1. Pool water restart. Pool water restart is pretty essential, especially if you have never drained your pool before and replaced it with fresh water. In fact, it is recommended that every 3 to 5 years you completely drain your pool and refill it. Things can happen to your pool water. If you leave bread out, it gets stale. If you leave the same pool water in there for years and years and years, it can kind of get stale too. It just has all this stuff in it from you adding chemicals and swimming in it over time that it's not good water anymore. So if you haven't drained your pool in 3 to 5 years, it's a great idea to drain all the water out and restart. If you're not comfortable with that, it's a good idea to at least drain 50% and refill that. Step 2. Add Supreme Plus. Supreme Plus is an essential additive to your swimming pool. Supreme Plus is a pH neutral mixture of sodium tetraborate. Sodium tetraborate is a powerful algistat. By controlling carbon dioxide in your water, sodium tetraborate naturally suppresses algae. Carbon dioxide is one of the main things that algae needs to breed and reproduce. So by controlling carbon dioxide in your water by using Supreme Plus, you severely cripple algae's ability to bloom. Supreme Plus also acts as a natural scale inhibitor and soil stain inhibitor. In fact, sodium tetraborate is often used in laundry detergents because of its ability to stop calcium scale and soil deposits. The other thing it does is it makes your water feel silky smooth and enables you to use 30 to 50% less chlorine throughout the year. It only has to be added one time every year. The biggest benefit of it is its annual application, because you don't have to worry about it every week. You add it in there and it's done, and you're protected from several different things throughout the year. Step 3. Regular use of enzymes. Using a weekly enzyme phosphate remover like Pool Perfect and Phosphorus or CV700 is essential in keeping your pool free of organic contaminants and keeping phosphates down. In a traditional chlorine regimen, up to 90% of your chlorine will go towards oxidizing organic contaminants. So, by using an enzyme, you reduce the amount of chlorine that you need to oxidize the pool because the enzyme does the bulk of the oxidizing by breaking down the contaminants that would need to be oxidized. So, another good thing about enzymes is that if you use a mineral system like Pool RX or Nature 2, the enzymes will keep those mineral housings free of organic buildup like oils and scum and things like that, thus allowing your mineral system to work more efficiently. We recommend 2 different types of enzyme and phosphate removers. If you have tons of plant debris in your backyard, like crepe myrtles or berry trees that drop lots of berries, we recommend that you use CV700. If you have minimal plant life in your backyard, minimal landscaping, we recommend you use Pool Perfect plus Phosphorus. Step 4. Mineral or ozone system. If Riverbend Sandler Pools built your pool, chances are you already have an ozonator or a Nature 2 system. These are both great alternatives to using chlorine to both sanitize and oxidize your water. If you don't have a Nature 2 or you don't have an ozonator, then Pool RX is a great solution for you. Pool RX is a mineral system that utilizes chelated copper to sanitize and suppress algae. By using a mineral system and an ozonator, you will significantly reduce the amount of chlorine you need to sanitize and oxidize your water. Step 5. In-season algicide maintenance. During the season, you're going to want to use a maintenance dose of an algicide like Polyquat 60. It's very simple to do. You add 3 ounces per 10,000 gallons per week directly to your pool. What that does is it's going to kill off any algae spores that may have been introduced, thus giving you a leg up on algae, stopping it from blooming before it starts. This will significantly reduce the amount of chlorine that you need to use to properly sanitize your water. Step 6. Adding chlorine tablets. No matter what chemical regimen you use, you're still going to need to use chlorine tablets regularly. We recommend you use ProTeam's high-tech tabs. They have about 8.5% less stabilizer in them, so you're at less risk of overstabilizing your pool. They're also fortified with borates. This will help keep your Supreme Plus levels where you need them throughout the year. Every time you add these tablets, you're also adding Supreme into the pool. Studies have shown that 25 pounds of high-tech tabs, when properly used, will do the same job as 35 pounds of regular chlorine tablets. That's a huge savings. You're going to want to adjust the tablet usage in order to maintain between 1 and 1.5 parts per million free chlorine in the spring and in the summertime. If you don't know what that means, then you need to watch our Chlorine Chemistry School under the Resources tab. Step 7. Shocking. In a traditional pool and in other chemical regiments, you will have to shock at least once a week. But because we are employing so many alternatives to chlorine, your shocking with this regiment will be reduced to an as-needed basis. What does that mean? As needed means you test your chlorine every 2 to 3 days, and if it's at bare bones 0, you go over to your tablet feeder and there's no tablets in there, then you probably need to shock. You'll still want to shock before a thunderstorm or after wildlife contamination, and it's still a good idea to shock after a giant gathering, just to ensure that you don't experience any problems that could occur because of the exhaustion of all the other protections. However, we have found that shocking is brought to a bare minimum when people employ this regiment. Again, you'll want to rotate shocking between Power Magic Super Oxidizer and ProTeam's Shock and Swim. Step 8. Regular pH balancing. It is essential to balance your pH regularly to ensure the proper appearance of your pool water, prevent scaling, and also make sure that all of your chemicals function properly. Chlorine is a compound called hypochlorous acid, HOCl, and when your pH goes above 8.0, HOCl does a thing called dissociation. HOCl, the hydrogen, the H, breaks away from the OCl, and what you're left with to sanitize your pool is called OCl negative. It's a hypochlorite ion that is only 1% as effective as HOCl at removing bacteria and killing algae. So, your chlorine is considered completely ineffective when your pH goes above 8. It is recommended that you test your pH every 2 to 3 days to make sure it's in between 7.2 and 7.6. It is completely normal to have to add muriatic acid 1 to 2 times a week to correct a high level of pH in the North Texas area. Step 9. Regular water testing. You're going to want to test all of the chemicals in your pool at least once a month. However, there are some things you need to test more frequently than others. Every 2 to 3 days, you should test your free chlorine and your pH. Weekly, you should test your total chlorine and your total alkalinity. Monthly, you definitely need to test your cyanuric acid and calcium hardness. It's a good idea, in season, every 6 weeks, to come to Riverbend Pool Supply so that we can do a full spectrum test on your water just to make sure that everything's going okay. You'll also want to test for borates every 6 months to ensure that you do have enough. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for choosing riverbendpoolsupply.com for all your pool and spa needs.